Good evening and welcome to the February 5 meeting of the County of San Diego Citizens Law Enforcement Review Board. I'm Mary Ann Pintar. I'm the chair of the board. We will get started tonight with a roll call, and then we'll move into public comment. So if you are planning to speak during public comment tonight and haven't turned in your speaker slip yet, please do that. Get it to the folks that are the people that are sitting here down below. Thank you, Norris, for waiting. And we'll make sure that you get in the lineup. Adele, can you please call the roll?
Chair Pintar,
Present.
Vice Chair Mendelson,
Present.
Secretary Pisano, present. Mr. Tyson,
Present.
Dr. Brown, Mr. Dumas,
Present.
Frederico Longo, Mr. Moody,
Present.
Dr. Thomas,
Present.
Mr. Ware,
Present.
and Mr. Woods.
Present.
And let the record reflect their form.
Thank you, Ms. Pisano. We do not have any members requesting cause for a remote participation, correct? Thank you. So we will move to, actually, before we move to item number 3, I meant to do this at the beginning of the meeting. I'm going to go a little bit out of order here and introduce our newest member. We have a new member to the CLERB board tonight, Mr. Don Dumas. He's here on the far left. Mr. Dumas is our new representative for District 1, District 1 Supervisorial District. He is a teacher in the Sweetwater Union High School. I think he's been a teacher there for about 27 years. Is that correct?
Not quite that much.
Okay.
Almost 20.
Almost 20. My math is bad, so I'm not a teacher. He's also a varsity basketball coach and an advisor to the Black Student Union. On top of that, he's currently president of the Southwestern College Governing Board and has won many awards for his work and service in the community, including San Diego Black Leader of Influence by the San Diego Business Journal and the San Diego County Teacher of the Year. And he's got a lot more in his resume, but we're going to get going with the meeting. But he gives a lot of his time to the community, and now he's giving some time to this board. So I really appreciate it. I'm happy to have your background and skill set on our board. So welcome. And while we're getting our public comment commenters ready, I also wanted to mention that for the first time, we have a couple of board members that are not here tonight, but I've been serving on this board since 2023, and this is the first time that we have a full board. So we are a complete board right now. It's an excellent, diverse group of people with a lot of different backgrounds, and it brings a lot of strength to what we do. So I'm very happy about that. Okay, now, Naris, if you want to call our first public commenter.
Progress.
Trustee Local Yusuf.
Good evening, CLERB. My name is Yusuf Miller with the North County Equity and Justice Coalition, Saving Lives in Tustin, California. And what I want to do is I want to invite you to a town hall listening session that we will have with the director of the custody death review for the state from the BSCC and the director of mental health for all the jails in the state from the BSCC. That will be March 2nd at 4 p.m. at the Tubman Chavez Lidwell Center. And it will be a great opportunity for us to engage with that process. We know that mental health is in a crisis right now, and the ultimate end for people when they cross law enforcement is to wind up in jail, which does not do anything for mental health except exacerbate it. So we want to get these solutions working and direct that office into what they can do to improve that system as they look at the entire state. They're starting off here in San Diego County, which we always ask them to do because their seats were created here in San Diego County from the grassroots movements here. What we would also like is we're inviting the entire county. We're the sheriff's department, the police department, probation. We're inviting everybody, the board of supervisors, and you all here to that event In that event, we should be able to ask and direct that office to something that's workable in our county. So I want to thank you for considering that, and we have plans to talk to some of you for specific asks directly. And you'll be hearing more from us on that soon. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Next we will call Daniel.
I'm sorry, I'm gonna just pause for a second. I'm getting a message from somebody that's saying that they are not able to get into the online Zoom. It's requiring a passcode. It's on the website? Okay, thank you. Sorry about that. Okay, I just wanted to make sure that we were able to pick it up. Thank you.
Thank you.
I'm sorry to interrupt you. Please go ahead.
I'm here to speak about, can you hear me? I'm here to speak about the wrongful death of Gary Gates in Imperial Beach, and I'm here to ask for a little bit of help with the sheriff's department in IB. I don't know if you looked into it already, but Gary Gates was having mental health problems on a Friday. He was suicidal, and his suicidality was actually quite advanced to the point that not only did he want to end his life, but he had a plan on how to do it. And he confided in somebody who said, my plan is to manipulate the sheriffs into killing me. Well, the person that he confided in did tell the sheriff, so the sheriffs would be aware and know how to proceed accordingly. On that Friday, the sheriffs did a large investigation with him and involved Hurt. During that investigation, Gary had a knife and said he was going to stab himself in the chest with it to end his life. This first failure is Hurt and everybody involved in the investigation. They decided not to 5150 him and send him for urgent mental health care. Instead, they chose to do nothing. 2 days later, he found the sheriffs, asked the sheriff to shoot him, and they did. During the Christmas festival, where all of our families and children were present, we had to watch Gary Gates bleed out. And I just feel like, yes, look into, of course, Hammond, the person who shot, but also please look into the leadership. The leadership was notified on Friday of this situation, and he should have clearly given instruction to all the deputies to prevent this from happening. I have my complaint here, and I'm also turning in the signed complaints for the other IB issue, which is Jonathan Diaz and Abigail Person.
Thank you. If you provided your name at the beginning, I didn't hear it. Do you mind providing it to us just so I have it on record here for us?
Danielle Richardson.
Danielle Richardson, thank you.
Next we will call David Settles.
Public comment. Hello, CLERB. I'm David Settles, brother of Matthew Settles, who passed away in George Bailey. That was in 2022, so it's been 3.5 years. My brother, many of you know the story. He was a long time schizophrenic, taken from the county mental hospital into jail. He didn't get the mental health treatment he needed. So, I'm continuing to show up. I think, his case, you've already looked at his case. Weren't able to, sustain any findings, but, we're as a family still haven't, know why the decisions were made on Matthew. Obviously, he didn't get the treatment or help he needed. He was in admin seg. And he was assaulted. So anyway, I'm just showing up once again for my brother. I'm here as part of North County Equity and Justice Coalition, Saving Lives in Custody. I'm happy to see there's been some progress in now, you having the oversight for medical staff and other hours here for oversight for, getting the improvements we need for the mental health of the jail. So that's why I'm showing up, continuing to show up, help other families, so that this, their families, when the time comes or the need, they get the treatment they need, whether it's in jail or outside of jail for mental health is a real issue. So thank you for letting me speak. Thank you.
Thank you. Next we will call Serenity.
My name is Trinity Serna. I am 10 years old. I'm here because my mom, Lisa Serna, died. She died on November 11, 2019, because I was only 3.5 years old while she died in San Diego custody. I don't remember everything about that day, but I live with the consequences of it every day. I grew up without my mom. I grew up with questions. I grew up watching adults talk about reports and investigations while my mom never came home. I am here to ask Kelly Martinez, the sheriff of San Diego County, to apologize for what happened to my mom. An apology will not bring my mom back, but it matters. It matters to hear an adult in power say that what happened to my mom was wrong. It matters to hear that my mom's life mattered. It matters to know that other kids won't have to grow the way I grew up. I didn't choose to be here. I should be worried about school, friends, and being killed, not standing in front of a board asking for accountability. I am asking you to listen to me, not just as a daughter, but as a child who deserves honesty and respect. Please apologize for my mom's death. Please take responsibility. And please make sure no other child has to stand here asking the same thing. Thank you for listening to me.
Thank you, Serenity. I'm not the sheriff, but I'm here to say that your mom mattered. And you being here matters, and I'm sorry you have to be here under these circumstances. So I really appreciate your words tonight, and I did listen.
Next we have Paloma.
My name is Paloma Serna, the mother of Elisa Serna, who died November 11, 2019 by medical neglect at the hands of the Sheriff Department. I'm with Saving Lives in Custody California, Saving Lives in Custody Campaign, and the North County Equity and Justice Coalition. Why does my 10-year-old daughter, Serenity, have to be put into this position? Because I have adopted her and I made her as my daughter. Speaking to this board, demanding that Kelly Martinez and her employees apologize and be held accountable for the death of her biological mother. This board has watched Serenity grow up. On November 11, 2019, Serenity was only 3.5 years old. Tonight, CLERB is reviewing the death of Majid Alfred Almaji and Richard Woodford, Jose Pinero, and Alfredo Hernandez. 4 people who entered San Diego County custody alive and left dead. Different facilities, different timelines, same outcome. These cases share the same core failures, invisible medical distress, no risk factors, and delayed or absent intervention. CLERB has the authority to demand accountability, reject weak findings, and force a systemic change. When authority is not used, it sends a clear message that these deaths are acceptable. Oversight should prevent harm, not explain it after the fact. Families are not here because we want to be. Many are still waiting for answers, waiting to know the truth and waiting for those responsible for these preventable deaths to be held accountable. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Next we will call Sandra. Right.
Is there Sandra here? Okay, she comes.
All right. Next we will call Daniel. Daniel Curry. Looks like Daniel is not here yet. Next we will call Renee.
Are these people that submitted speaker slips online, but they're not present now? Is that what?
Yeah, they submitted their request to speak in person
Okay,
only.
we'll keep going through.
Yeah. Okay, next I will start calling the people via Zoom. First, I will call teacher McLeod.
My name is
Teacher,
Deirdre.
can you hear me?
Hello? Hello?
Teacher,
Hello?
teacher, can you hear me?
Hello? Hello?
Teacher, you are unmute.
I
Can
am
you hear
not.
me?
Your equipment is not working.
Trying to speak, but we're just not getting any sound from her. Maybe her microphone isn't working.
Maybe that she's on mute, so I'll try another caller.
We'll come back to her.
Yes. I'll call Deanne Serta. Deanne, I'm asking you to unmute. Can you hear me?
Hello? Can you guys hear me?
To me, it looks like they are trying to speak and we're just not getting audio here.
Yes, and we are trying to
Okay,
see
I
what
just wanted
on.
to make, thank you.
Thank you.
So other participants on Zoom are saying that the last two speakers could be heard on the Zoom. So there's just an issue with the audio in
Yes.
this room.
Okay, so let's try. Deanna, can you hear me?
Hello?
Yes,
Now
I
we
can
can
hear
hear
you.
you. There we go.
Okay.
Try.
I would like to pass my minutes to my mom, Paloma Serna. Thank you.
My name is Paloma Serna. I'm the mother of Elisa Serna, who died November 11, 2019. I am with Saving Lives in Custody, California, and also Saving Lives in Custody Campaign, and with North County Equity and Justice Coalition. You know, it's very sad, and I know, Serenity, this, because we know the sheriff, they listen online, but you guys watched her. I've been coming since 2019. I attended on Zoom because I was residing in Montana. Now I am here permanently, and you will be hearing, more from Serenity, because, so sad, the last couple of weeks, she's been asking questions. She's been asking now, she's 10, she wants to know, why would, Kelly Martinez not apologize, even from a board of supervisor meeting that we were here? She just won't acknowledge her, and this is all what, this child is asking, is for an apology, and I think she deserve it, at least, because who has to deal with this? I do. I have to deal with the pain and the questions that she's gonna ask. And one day she will see those videos of her mother dying. And no one is, and it's in jail, no one is gonna ever be held accountable for her death. And it's just not her death. Kelly Martinez, she was under Sheriff Gore when Elisa died in 2019. She was part of the investigation department, unit. So what happened? Why is no one arrested? And it's sad. These are, these people, these unlovely people in society, we love them. She has a daughter that loves her so much. And I have to deal with that, throughout her life, and Kelly Martinez needs to apologize, not just to her, but to every family. We still haven't even had a meeting with her. Before she got elected, she promised to sit down with the families, and she has not. Thank you.
Thank you. Next, we will call teacher McLeod.
Can you hear me now?
We
We
can't.
can.
Thank you. My name is Deirdre McLeod, and I'm a constituent of Supervisor Joel Anderson, District 2. My pronouns are she, her. As this board begins its 2026 deliberations, I'd like to ask you to revisit two items from the sheriff's presentation last November for further clarification. The sheriff stated that, on intake, people are refusing to participate in established mental and physical health programs. I would like this board to explore that issue further. If an incarcerated person initially refuses help but changes their mind, how is that handled? There have been so many reports, here before you, in the courts, and covered by journalists, of people pleading for help and being ignored by deputies. Are the existing procedures for getting help after intake inadequate? Also during her presentation, the sheriff mentioned an internally developed app that gives deputies information about individuals during rounds. I'd like this board to follow up on that tech. Is the app downloaded onto personal phones or on any department-issued devices that can be taken off-site? Exactly what information does it let deputies access? Immigration status? Any health information, including menstruation or pregnancy records? The sheriff also mentioned that the app was developed in-house because few outside companies are creating the programs they need. Does this mean that SDSO could share this tech and possibly the information within it with other law enforcement? Would that comply with existing state law? Will they be selling the software? Where would those monies, for an app developed on taxpayer time, go? These are just two quick asides that the sheriff brought up during her presentation that deserve more investigation. In the interest of transparency and accountability, and to increase public confidence in the sheriff's office, I urge CLERB to ask for additional information about both. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Next, we will call Tom Becker. Tom, can you hear me? Can you unmute yourself?
Yes, can you hear me?
Yes, we can.
Yeah, I appreciate Assistant Sheriff Dustin Lopez recently sharing some data on behavioral health services and their quality improvement process. Beyond that, as promised in November, I repeat my request, this time from a different perspective, to insist that you have the sheriff fully share detailed documentation of all specific changes implemented that will help reduce preventable deaths, and ask staff to provide written updates on progress at each of your meetings. In the recent Dunsmore case, county attorney said that the sheriff, quote, has made numerous changes to policy and practice, unquote, and a November UT article quoted a message from Lieutenant Collins, who said the sheriff has, quote, implemented several risk management and strategies and policies, unquote. The sheriff's website has almost no such information beyond general accomplishments such as filling vacancies and improving facilities. Reports at the website often say more about what is planned than what's been done. So ask for a detailed list of all of these changes so that affected families and others can see legitimate progress in preventing deaths similar to those of recent years. Mistakes and problems in individual cases should also be analyzed with other cases to identify both system and individual causes, and then noting appropriate changes which have been made. As your staff sometimes find, usually no individual can be held totally responsible for a death or mistreatment because several or many other staff contributed. All individual changes in policy or practice should add up to the systemic change that is truly needed, from procedures to organizational culture. She promised such transparency and accountability, so please hold her to that. Thanks for your attention.
Thank you. Next, I will call Saxon's big sister. Can you hear me?
Hello, I can hear you. Can you hear me?
Yes, we can. Go ahead.
Hello, my name is Sabrina Weddle. I am Saxon Rodriguez's older sister. Saxon died July 20th, 2021 in San Diego Central Jail. I first want to start by, it's a shame that you guys set it up so that it is complication after complication for the people online to speak. You guys do this on purpose. You started with first cutting our minutes. It hasn't been 3 minutes since Paul Parker left, okay? Why can't we have our other minute? How many people are speaking that we can't have our 60 seconds to talk about our dead loved one? Serenity deserved way more than 2 minutes, whether she used it or didn't use it, because she read the room. Serenity, I love you so much. First and foremost, like she said, she should not have to be there. None of us should be there. The new faces I see via Zoom, hello, welcome. I'm the big sister that does not play about my little brother that died at San Diego Central Jail. In fact, let me remind you who was responsible for my brother, not only Kelly Martinez, but the deputies that were in charge. Brian Powell, Andrew Randovich, Maxwell Rimple, Andre Wanzer, Melissa Burns, Reggie Barreto, Carrie Cavello, Reincarnation, Caitlin Hendricks, Marlene Abanza, Kelly Payne, Levy Santos, and Chantel Williams. Those last 9 names were nurses. Melissa Burns stated jail was the best place to receive treatment for an overdose, but according to Lisa Cerna's case, y'all need training. Hi, welcome. How are you guys doing? Again, my name is Sabrina Weddle. I'm here for Saxon Rodriguez, who died July 20th, 2021. Kelly Martinez, not only do you owe Serenity an apology, but all the families that you state, oh, I've reached out. Oh, I care so much. This won't happen again. How many deaths are there this year? Word on the street is somebody has hung themselves for the 7th time in San Diego Central Jail, and the nurse just cleared them to go back to general population.
Thank you, Sabrina. Your time is expired. Next, I will call Leslie.
Can you hear me?
Leslie,
Can you hear me?
us? Leslie, can you hear me?
If you can hear me, I'm speaking for Raymond Baldwin, but I'd like to give my time to Yusuf Miller, please.
We can hear you. Thank you.
Yusuf Miller, North County Equity and Justice Coalition, Saving Lives in Custody, California. And to trail on to what I was saying when I was here for the first time about CLERB's involvement in the town hall that's coming up next week, if possible, we would like to meet with Brett Carolina and discuss your involvement in the panel on that day. We know we just found out about the date, but we know it's short notice, but we know you'd like to be involved. So we will put that offer out now, and we'll probably give you a call tomorrow and see and set up a meeting either tomorrow or next week. In regards to what Sabrina Well was speaking of, who was with the Saving Lives in Custody, California, and Leslie Crawford, who's with Saving Lives in Custody, California, and what happens to their loved ones. Drug addiction and mental health, they present the same. Of course, we saw ordinance changes by Supervisor Montgomery Stepp in the medical field for oversight for your body to oversee medical department. But I want to make sure that there's a clear understanding that mental health is separate from that. It's separate from that, and maybe we need an additional ordinance to deal with the mental health issue. That might be something that we could bring up at the town hall, that we have something locally that deals with mental health. If it's inclusive, that's great. But the third thing, when we were looking for a mental health specialist for all the jails in the state, and a medical health specialist for all the jails in the state, the third thing we wanted that we didn't get was a homelessness aspect of the jails. Our homeless population is over incarcerated, and a lot of the homeless that are over incarcerated, they have drug addiction problems as well. And if they don't have drug addiction problems when they are homeless, they will pick up one while they're out there to deal with the reality that they have on the street. So a robust drug program is necessary. The drug program at the time of Lisa Serna's death was not robust.
Thank you. Next, we will call Sandy Woodall.
Hello, Cindy Weddle here. Can I please give my time to Yusuf Miller?
Yes.
Yusuf Miller, Saving Lives in Custody, California. This program is not robust. And it's a system where we blame the incarcerated, we blame the mail, we blame drones dropping drugs in. But when we hear from people that were previously incarcerated and they come out, they talk about the allowance of drugs into the system. What we had in 2024 is Sheriff Martinez say, we're going to investigate or scan all the jails. And we're gonna have a routine where we specialize in one jail at a time. I don't think this is accurate or it's not a good product to have just one jail at a time. They need to be simultaneously robust in the scanning of everyone that comes in. Everyone that comes into jail. If you say we can scan and keep people from bringing drugs into men's central jail, I have a rude awakening for all of us. There are times when that Sally Port is open and those deputies go in through the Sally Port with their bags. No one is scanning them. They're coming in and getting Grubhub. They're getting DoorDash. No one is scanning that. So we're so eager to talk about the families bringing in drugs and the inmates bringing in drugs with all these loopholes in the system that we're not addressing. So when people get drugs in the jails and they overdose and things like that, we still looking at the places that are not problematic because we over-police it and we overscan it, but we don't look at the places where there is holes and gaps. And we see those holes and gaps every time we rally at Men's Central Jail. There is no serious way to control the drugs going in if people can just walk in and out of Sally Port and people can order a Grubhub and all these things that are not scanned in themselves. So the homelessness outreach needs to be stronger by people who are not bagging a gun, and so does the drug addiction.
Thank you. Next, we will call Beverly.
Yes, this is Beverly Allen Jerry. I suffer the loss of Viana Granio every day. I would like to give my minutes to Yusuf Miller.
Yusuf Miller, Saving Lives in Custody, California. And when we look at what happened to Beverly's daughter-in-law and the surviving child, like we see from the surviving child of Serenity, we see the same issue that happened with Elisa Serna. Exactly. It is actually, it looks like a thumbprint of the same conditions that Elisa Serna died in. And in that wake, you see all of these families. We represent nearly 24 families that have died in custody. And you see some of them here today. You see the Serna family. You see the Settles family sitting behind us. And they are the survivors of these neglects in jail. And we have online some people who can't come here as readily still listening in. And they want to hear and they want to know that their words are not falling on deaf ears. We have people like Sabrina that don't believe in you, who don't have confidence in you. And confidence has to be earned. It has to be earned and it has to be maintained. And if we don't have the confidence, then we need to work on building the confidence of the community by getting things done that actually makes sense, that actually puts the rubber to the road. If we don't do that, then we're here wasting our breath. But we're not going to stand for wasting our breath. We're going to be here every day, every time that there's a meeting. We've been coming here since 2020, and we'll continue to come until changes are made in a more swift way, a more substantial way. I'm not saying that there's no changes that's been happening. And for our new people that are now on the board, we appreciate you being here. As was said, we finally have a full complement, more minds together, more thought together, more energy together. Great. So let's make more progress together, more steps in the right direction. And in that way, we can prevent our body, our group from growing. We don't want our group to grow. We want to be out of business. We want to make it so that nobody has to contact us from the jails or prisons to say we have an issue, and you can help us do that by being more forceful and direct to the sheriff's department. Thank you.
Thank you. We have received a request to speak via Zoom from Katrina Knowles. However, I don't see your name, so if you hear me, please raise your hand. Katrina. All right. Also, we have received a request to speak via Zoom from Raymond. Raymond, If you hear me, please raise your hand. All right, I'll go back to the in-person request to speak, if you allow me. I have Darwin Fisher.
Good evening, Darwin Fishman, Racial Justice Coalition of San Diego. Thank you, you board members for being here. It's great to see the attendance too. I wanted to add to what Danielle said earlier about Mary Gates death in Vero Beach. And then follow what Tom said from Surge about preventable deaths. One of the things we're seeing, the trends that continues with the sheriff's department is we're referring to as preventable deaths, not just with custody deaths, but also out on the street. And I think what I would hope is that clerk can really dig into this in terms of looking beyond policy, in the sense that even if numbers go down for custody deaths, if you still have a lot of preventable deaths, then there's hopefully opportunities to figure out ways that you can improve the policy, and also just cultural issues that are still leading to these types of deaths. With Gates, literally 2 days before he was shot and killed by Officer Hammond, police were called out, sheriffs were called out, and PERC team de-escalated the situation, which begs the question of if PERC is successful and you know this person, why couldn't there be a way to address his issues that would not result in the use of lethal force? Clearly, the sheriff's department knew about this in his history. What's scary about this, if it's not clear in terms of the message the sheriff department is saying, is that if you're having mental health breakdown and law enforcement's called out, then they consider lethal force one of the solutions for mental health crises. Why not use things like PERC if that's available? And if for some reason it's not, what's the problem with the services then that are being provided by PERC? And is there a way to have non-law enforcement response to these situations and services provided so that it doesn't keep occurring? And I think again, it's acceptable for clerk to play a role in this. You can do it through alternatives to incarceration, advisory board for the county, as well as going to the supervisors directly. Thank you.
Chair Pintar, that concludes our request to speak for item number 3.
No, so that concludes online also. Okay, thank you. We will move to item number 4, approval of the minutes. Is there a motion to approve the minutes?
I'll move to approve the minutes.
Is there a second?
I'll second.
So that's Mr. Mendelson and Mr. Moody. When you're ready, Ms. Fasano, if you could call the roll, please.
Chair Pinto,
Yes.
Vice Chair Mendelson.
Yes.
Secretary Fasano, yes. Mr. Wilson.
Yes.
Abstain. Mr. Moody,
Yes.
Dr. Thomas,
Yes.
Mr. Ware,
Abstain.
and Mr. Woods.
Yes.
Let the record show the minutes.
Thank you. We will move on to tonight's presentation. I'm sorry, did I interrupt you?
No, I was just gonna say 7 in favor.
Okay, thank you. Sorry, I cut you off. We will now move on to tonight's presentation. We have the Chief Probation Officer, Chief Nelson, giving a presentation for us tonight. Where would you like to? Oh, seat for you right there. Okay. Welcome, Chief Nelson. I wasn't here last year when you presented to us, and I'm sorry to have missed it, but I'm glad to be here tonight and I'm happy to meet you.
Thanks, you mentioned that to meet you in person.
So, again, I just want to extend my gratitude and thanks to you, clerk, for the opportunity to present this evening. I know I did it last year, so it's, did it one, especially with the new members. Thank you for your service. I really appreciate the work that, our teachers do. It's a very important job, especially for our children. So thank you. And I'll let everybody over the thing. And as far as that, then thank you guys for this evening and what we're presenting. You can go on to the next slide. So good evening, Chair Pinchar, members of the citizens, law enforcement review board, and community representatives. Thank you again for the opportunity to speak with you today. As Chief Probation Officer, my priority is ensuring that our department operates with transparency, accountability, and a commitment to public safety while supporting rehabilitation and positive change. Today, I'll provide an overview of the department, share updates on our initiatives, community engagement efforts, and the steps we're taking to uphold our guiding principles of service, commitment, and compassion. I look forward to an open dialogue and your valuable feedback as we work together to strengthen trust and collaboration. The County of San Diego Probation Department is a highly skilled team committed to protecting public safety by coaching clients to restore their lives, families, and communities they live in. We are more than 1,000 San Diegans serving our neighbors, providing services to clients while balancing support and accountability. I believe deeply in the work we do because it truly matters. Our efforts aim to create meaningful, positive impacts in the lives of our clients within our communities. As a Chief Probation Officer, I'm committed to guiding this team with the core values of service, commitment, and compassion as our foundation, working together to continue to make a lasting difference in our community. Our goal is to do what is best for our community through balance, engagement, services, training, and stability. Balance is our way of maintaining our uniqueness as probation and maintaining balance in providing support, opportunities, and accountability. Engagement, we do this by increasing quality engagement with our clients and our community. Services, delivering quality services to our clients, supported by data and principles of evidence-based approaches. Through our training, it's continuous education for all staff to stay innovative, pass on knowledge, and challenges to grow in our perspectives and our approaches. And through our stability, stabilizing our workforce through succession planning and evaluation of efficiencies to maximize our capabilities and our capacity. How we serve is to better understand in order to better understand the probation department and its role, it's important to recognize that we serve as an arm of the court, a neutral third party within the justice system. Our responsibility is to monitor and assist clients in complying with court orders. This includes case management, connecting individuals to services, individuals to services that address rehabilitative needs and remove barriers to successful reintegration. Probation plays a critical role by working with individuals throughout the court process, supporting community reentry, and ensuring accountability to protect public safety. Beyond supervision, we actively engage with our communities to provide resources and opportunities that help both youth and adults restore their lives and achieve lasting positive change. We monitor clients on pretrial as they go through the court process. We provide judges with vital background information to help identify appropriate sentences and interventions. We supervise and engage with clients in custody and in the community. We utilize evidence-based practices and approaches. We assist victims through restorative efforts, and we connect and collaborate with clients we serve, community members, and justice and health partners, amongst many others. Next slide. The probation department operates across multiple service areas and collaborates closely with county partners, the superior courts, law enforcement agencies, educational institutions, community-based organizations, and our community overall. For our adult reintegration and community supervision services division, it provides pretrial monitoring, reentry services, and community supervision to adult clients that are involved in the justice system. Our youth development and community support services provides comprehensive support to youth and their families, emphasizing trauma-informed care and positive youth development. Through community outreach, prevention, and intervention programs, we work to strengthen balance, build youth resiliency, and help young people successfully exit the juvenile justice system. The department operates 2 youth facilities, the Youth Transition Campus and the East Mesa Juvenile Detention Facility. Our professional standards and training division oversees in-service training, recruitment activities, background checks, and investigations into both internal and external complaints. Our administrative and operational services includes dedicated teams such as human resources, information technology, finance and contracts, business intelligence, policy, research, facilities, and safety. They provide essential support to help the department achieve its goals. Next slide. As of January 5th, 2026, our pretrial service unit was monitoring 1,107 adults placed by the court on supervised home recognizance as they were going throughout the court process. Probation officers were supervising 8,772 clients, including 8,092 adults and 680 youths. 224 youths in custody. Realigned populations, those realigned from the state, at both the adult and juvenile levels, has changed the landscape of California's criminal and juvenile justice system by shifting state responsibilities for certain clients to counties. Of the over 8,000 adults on community supervision, 1,568 were supervised as part of the passage of 8109 in 2011, adult realignment. This means that almost 1 in 5 adults on community supervision last month have re-entered the community from state prison or have after serving a long-term sentence in county jail and are being supervised by county probation instead of parole. These types of supervision are referred to as post-release community supervision or mandatory supervision. Of the 224 youths in custody, 77 youths were in our Youth Development Academy as part of the legislation passed in 2020, SB 823, otherwise known as Juvenile Justice Realignment. This means that about 35% of our youth who were in custody on January 5th, 2026 were between the ages of 18 and 24. County probation has been responsible for supervising this older youth population since 2023, when the State Department of Juvenile Justice dissolved and mandated that counties take on this new function. Next slide, please. The probation department operates in 17 locations throughout the county, including 9 community supervision offices, 2 youth facilities, 2 reentry centers, a training center, and an administration center. To enhance client access to care, staff members are co-located with the Health and Human Services Agency and the Southeast Lidwell Center. Additionally, staff are co-located with certain law enforcement agencies to promote public safety. Next slide. Over the past 5 years, the probation department has opened several new facilities and renovated existing ones to ensure clients receive services and environments that promote the highest quality of care. We actively invited community members from diverse backgrounds to provide input and feedback throughout the planning and design process for these new and remodeled offices. The department strategically located offices in high-demand regions to minimize client travel time. We also provide space for service providers within regional probation offices to ensure timely treatment assessment and lookings. Additionally, our offices offer services that benefit the broader community, not just those on probation, such as food pantries and meeting spaces. Our newer facilities include the Youth Transition Campus, which includes a brand new school that is separate from the living units, state-of-the-art career and technical education services, a multi-purpose gymnasium, and a performing arts space, outdoor recreation, a new kitchen, culinary arts space, and cafeteria, a large family visitation area, space for case management and medical services. Each cottage has 12 individual rooms where you can customize and decorate their space. There are mental health clinician offices in each cottage, dedicated programming and therapy space, and warm, welcoming patrons. Phase 2 of the Youth Transition Campus includes facilities for pre-dispositional youth, including housing units with direct access to exterior patios and recreational areas. The educational complex resembles a community school with classrooms that are trauma-informed and include multi-purpose rooms for school assemblies and graduations. The Youth Development Center is a state-of-the-art facility designed to provide exceptional customer service to youth on probation, supervision, and their families. Our Community Support Office, located in North Park, primarily serves residents of Mid-City San Diego, including North Park and City Heights, and features on-site community service providers, a community space that's open for the community, and a food pantry. The probation department is co-located at Southeast Lidwell Center, where county services are delivered in a trauma-informed and culturally sensitive manner to promote health and well-being for our clients, their families, and broader community. The interior design and furnishings of the Youth Development Academy units at East Mesa Juvenile Detention Facility have been updated to create spaces that foster positive youth development, supporting program goals and encourage pro-social interactions between staff and youth. Next slide, please. The department manages over 80 service contracts. This slide highlights examples of programs and services provided through these contracts, including housing and resource navigation, interim housing, job skills training, career technical education, integrated healthcare, cognitive behavioral therapy, canine assisted therapy, family care, mentoring, mental health care, substance use treatment, and access to counseling benefits. Next slide, please. The department is constantly engaging in innovative initiatives to improve service delivery, including the following initiatives and special projects we are focusing on. Employee wellness. The department is committed to strengthening staff wellness by integrating well-being into onboarding and ongoing professional development through innovative approaches and comprehensive resources. Mobile probation service centers. The department will be launching 2 mobile probation service centers to enhance outreach, deliver case management, and connect clients directly to care and resources, bringing services closer to where they live across all regions. Are improving youth safety and juvenile detention, building on nearly a decade of work to reduce reliance on force and promote safer environments for youth. Probation is developing a plan to phase out the use of OC spray in juvenile facilities by 2027. Least restricted programs. The department is developing many options for least restricted programs for youth placed in our secure youth treatment facility or our youth development academy. In accordance with Senate Bill 823, which shifted youth custody from the state to local jurisdiction. These programs aim to support successful community reintegration by balancing accountability with rehabilitation, grounded in positive youth development principles. Our County Justice Involved Reentry Initiative. In 2025, our team successfully went live with County Justice Involved Reentry Initiative, advocating for youth in juvenile facilities to enroll in services that strengthen continuity of care during reentry. This effort enhances care coordination across custody and community settings, advances health equity, and supports improved physical and behavioral health outcomes for justice-involved youth. Next slide, please. To stay accountable to our mission, the probation department monitors a variety of key performance indicators. In the first quarter of fiscal year 25-26, 89% of the youth and 80% of adults successfully completed supervision without new sustained law violations. Next slide, please. Community engagement is at the center of what we do. During fiscal year 24-25, the department took part in more than 140 community engagement events, including youth recreation activities, crime prevention initiatives, resource fairs, public safety events, fitness and sporting events, parades, fundraisers, recruitment and job fairs, and community forums. These community engagement events provide essential resources to meet community needs and create opportunities for individuals, including those with lived experience, to actively participate. Examples of some of the community engagement events include distributing food care packages to adults, youth, and their families, as well as the broader community throughout San Diego County. In addition, we host several food drives a year to support local food banks and collecting perishable items. We host citizens academies that give community members a deeper understanding of the probation department's role, operations, and practices. We partner with other agencies across the county to participate in homeless court pop-up resource fairs and veteran stand-down events, offering clients experiencing homelessness access to services, information, and referrals in a supportive, non-enforcement setting. We are planning community information sessions in the coming months to connect directly with community members in the areas we serve to provide community members, including our own clients, with information, resources, and opportunities to ask questions, provide feedback, and stay involved. It's essential for probation to stay connected with our community through engagement and
have attention. Will be testing the fire alarm system. Please disregard any alarms. I repeat, will be testing the fire alarm system. Please disregard any alarms.
I did not plan that. Engagement and ongoing support because we are an organization of San Diego and serving our neighbors. Next slide. This slide contains a collection of appreciative messages from various individuals and groups. So parents and clients express thanks for supporting during difficult times and for opportunities to succeed. Youth clients share pride in their progress and acknowledge the positive impact of the facility. Community participants appreciate transparency and engagement. Local schools value the human connection that changes perceptions. Adult clients are grateful for rehabilitation opportunities instead of incarceration. I will now pass the presentation over to you.
We're gonna be shutting this down. Definitely, the building manager didn't know what happened, but Paul Rich, he's gonna be shutting this down with you.
Thank you.
Okay, sorry.
Thank you for letting us know.
Su atención, por favor. Una alarma se ha activado en el edificio. Por favor, diríjase hacia las escaleras y abandone el edificio. This dog being done. I repeat, this dog being done.
Is your mic on?
May I have your attention, please? May I have your attention, please? An alarm has been activated in the building. Please proceed to the stairway and exit the building. Do not use the elevators. Su atención, por favor. Su atención, por favor. Una alarma se ha activado en el edificio. Por favor.
I will now pass the presentation over to Deputy Chief Probation Officer Matt Strickland to talk more about housing assignments for youth and neurodivergent training to our staff.
Thank you, Chief Nelson. Population management within our juvenile facilities is based on a structured classification process designed to ensure youth safety and minimize risk. Youth are assessed at intake and reassessed throughout their placement based on factors including age, gender, criminal sophistication, commitment type and length, and overall maturity level. Additional considerations include gang affiliation, known co-participants in delinquent activity, behavior history, and findings related to the Prison Rape Elimination Act. These factors guide housing decisions to separate younger, lower risk, and less sophisticated youths from older youths or those detained for more serious offenses. Housing assignments are reviewed regularly and adjusted as needed through ongoing monitoring, multidisciplinary and incident reviews, as well as staff observations. Enhanced supervision, routine safety checks, staff training, and reporting mechanisms such as grievances and medical sick call slips further support a safe environment. Thank you. Probation officers receive a variety of training designed to help them recognize and understand factors which may affect verbal and nonverbal communication and find ways to communicate effectively and de-escalate situations. While many of the training courses include elements which are related to neurodivergence, Autism, a Guide for Law Enforcement, is our training that deals most directly with this subject. This class is taught by a retired law enforcement professional who is also raised an autistic son. The course is based on reviews of actual interactions from law enforcement. With that, I will pass back to you.
Significant information about use is generally learned during the intake process. Officers and living units receive information about use in a variety of ways, but most critical information is passed out direct. Newer emerging information may also be briefed between medical behavioral health, education, and probation personnel in a partner called a data time. When officers struggle to de-escalate use, they can call the care team with a group of officers and clinicians who are skilled at de-escalation with the primary goal of regaining. With that, that will conclude our presentation from this evening. And I think
Thank you very much. Appreciate your being here, both of you, and I also wanted to thank you for, your team has been very, welcoming and helpful when we've asked for board members to visit the two youth detention facilities. I've been to both of them, on different occasions and seen some special programming there. So we appreciate that you're always willing to have us, when we ask. We are going to go to board member questions, and then we will go to public comment. Is that the order we usually go in? I think so. Okay. So I will open it up to board member questions, and then we will go to public comment. There's a member of the board who has a question. Mr. Ware.
Yes, good evening. Thank you for coming and yes, being responsive to the information we requested to be honest last year. Thank you very much. I have three different questions. The first is being a former deputy probation officer myself, my concern is that when the population started in 2023, when you start servicing the 18 to 24-year-olds, do you feel you have the resources you need to supervise that population? Because I know there's a big difference, can be a big difference from an 18-year-old and a 24-year-old.
no. Oh, I'm sorry. Wrong one. I need to mute it. Sorry. The answer is no. Unfortunately, when this realignment happened, those concerns were voiced through with the state. We did not have enough resources in order to serve this population. What we have to remember is with the Division of Juvenile Justice that was operated by the state, they had operated for decades, so they had enough of the resources they were able to build that up. What we received back from the state and obviously with the support of that the county was able to provide, we were able to soften the units that what we did. So I do know it can shock the conscience sometimes as you see East Mesa, are you developed academy compared to our youth transition campus? But we have to remember what it took to get the youth transition campus. There was over $130 million to make that happen, to make that vision come true for what the county of San Diego wanted to see for their youth here. And so the infrastructure is not the same. We just did what we could with the resources we were provided through the state and with, of course, the support of our county for what we want to see. It is different to service young adults or youth 18 and 24, and I say that especially because, sometimes when I'm talking to them, they're like, I'm not a youth, I'm not a kid. I'm like, I know you're a young adult, but you're in the juvenile justice system. And so what we have now, it is what we continue to do is be innovative with the available resources that we have. So anytime that there's resources afforded, our partnership, for instance, with Southwestern College and our youth in college, creating our own fire camp, even though the state does provide a fire camp north for Pine Road, but creating something here local so that our kids can stay connected to the community, which was the intention of the realignment. We are going to do what we can to keep our youth connected and seeing, and that's the viewpoint. So we do listen to them and say, what would you like to see in services? And also, again, working with our education partners and our community-based organizations on how we can best serve this older population and how we do it in the context. Our ultimate goal is we do not want to see youth elevated out of our system into the adult system. And so that does take partnership, that does take collaboration. That's why we work very closely on being an arm in the court, but working closely with our justice and health partners and community-based organization and overall community, and definitely the youth and custody and their families on what can we do Because we do not want to see our youth eliminated through the justice system. So if anybody ever asks me, do I have enough resources to do what we want to do? Absolutely not. You know, we very much care for justice involved youth. We do know people see them differently. We don't. And so it's very much important for us that how can we put, I guess, give them as many opportunities and advantages that they might not have seen for themselves. That we can provide for them to say there's another path. And so we'll continue to do that with the support, you know, of our board, of our community, and the people that work in the party, they really care. So yeah, we don't have enough services, but we do. When we can get something, we do put it in place.
And just a follow-up question, the mobile probation services center, I think I always thought that was an amazing idea. What population are you gonna serve with that, unit? And then also, you can follow up with the care team. Then, your skill to prevent the use of force and de-escalation, can you share what that's all about? That's seems like something we should have in other areas.
I'll talk about the mobile probation centers and then I'll let Matt talk about the care team. With our mobile probation centers, we were able to acquire those through a grant through the Board of State and Community Corrections, so we were able to get 2. You've probably seen them or you can see them, there's pictures, but they're not quite finished. They're still, we're working on wrapping it and whatnot, but we have had them out. I believe the latest one was at our South County Resource Fair, which we posted out at the library at Chula Vista. And so, when we send money clients for there, those are mobile for reasons that go everywhere, so they can help, you know, our unhoused population, anybody on probation, even if somebody walked up to band and if they don't have to be on probation, if they walked up to that mobile center, you know, we'll have officers staffing that, we'll be working closely with our mental health partners. I'll talk to our courts, what, basically, how can we help eliminate some barriers as an opportunity to do courts, because courts are still allowed to do some virtual hearings. So if a client walked up and, you know, basically kind of a no wrong door approach, is there a way from our courts that they can pull that case and hold court there so that they don't have to try to get to Central or North or wherever they are? Just like, how can we continue to eliminate barriers? So when you ask who it's gonna serve, it's intended to serve anyone on probation, but if somebody walked up and asked for help, they're not gonna turn them away. We will say, it may not be for us, but we know somebody who we can connect you to. Oh, and here,
Regarding the care team, thank you for asking about it. The care team, has the primary goal of de-escalating situations, and at its simplest level, it's just the idea that bringing in someone who is not already working with that youth in that moment when the youth is escalating or becoming upset or agitated about something, bringing in a different set of faces to interact with them can be de-escalating in itself, because oftentimes when people are becoming upset, they're becoming upset through interaction with the people that are around them, and so bringing in a new face is just the most basic level of it. But then above and beyond that, the individuals who are selected for it are selected based on their demonstrated sort of skills. Some people come to us and already have a natural facility for de-escalating people, and some people learn it through training. And so you have a sort of combination of both in the care team. And then we also have our clinicians who participate in the care team will respond to care team calls. And again, the primary goal is just to de-escalate a situation so it doesn't turn into like a forced type of situation. And so it's just bringing in people who have those demonstrated skills, but also we do have training for them, and we have a really excellent treatment team. And the treatment team has done the in-house training for them. So it's a mix of folks who have that kind of, some people just have an innate knack for de-escalating people in situations. Some folks have gotten it through training. So that's been a great success in my opinion. We've been doing it for several years, and I hear it called, I've heard it called more and more. And there's, I think, as people kind of experience it, and see it work, it's really kind of taken on more. Hopefully, some of you have come around for yourselves, maybe vertical for you want to use project. It's like an in-house project. So, yeah, I think you could describe it as that. Yes. Thank you.
Ms. Fasano, and then over to Dr. Thomas.
Thank you for being here and thank you for the very informative presentation. My question is, we find ourselves in a situation where CLERB cannot conduct its mission with regard to juveniles in the probation system. Because records that we would need to review in order to conduct an investigation are being sealed. Judge in the juvenile court. Do you have any suggestions or thoughts about how we can address this situation so we can perform our mission?
In regards to records, because we are also under, basically, we're under court order, so there's things we cannot release under with H27. So the only suggestion I can use is continue to follow that process and continue to engage with the courts. As far as record sealing, there's nothing that we can do about the law. We couldn't stop with record sealing because of what the law says what we're required to do for record sealing. So the only way would be through our juvenile court system, through the welfare institution, so the H27 process.
Dr. Thomas?
I think you said 80+% of people who go through the program don't commit another offense. Correct. Is that number similar across the state? Is that a high number, low number? Other things that can be done to kind of catch people early who are heading down the wrong way?
Well, part of the presentation, as we like to use evidence-based approaches. A lot of the work that we do, and I heard a member of the audience talk about it, is through alternatives to incarceration, alternatives to detention, through adult and youth. We have a lot of prevention programs and intervention programs. They are not necessarily operated by us. They are done in partnership with our community. And so we really work with them as far as catching early, because of evidence-based practices. It is our supervision practices that we do not try to engage with people who would, based on assessment, would be considered low risk. And it can get varied depending on that assessment, but we really try to stick to those evidence-based practices and approaches because research tells us it's less likely that it will get in trouble. And when I talk about pre-trial and monitoring, that would be considered a light touch. All we're doing is saying, please go to court, and that's it. And if you need resources, we're gonna give it to you, but there's no supervision piece or anything. We just need you to go to court and go through your case. But it's more, if you need that support, we're here for you with services. You need while you're going to court, but there's no monitoring. So we really do believe in a light touch. We don't want people to sit in the system who do not need to be in the system, but they need that extra support. And so it's just when people do need that extra support, that's where we are. Again, because we're in armed of court, sometimes it just depends on the judges. They might want more supervision for a client. And we just work with our courts and our judges to how can we figure this out on that type of level of supervision that they may want for a particular individual, or if it's a collaborative court. What is the agreement with the collaborative partners on the type of supervision when someone comes through a collaborative court and any type of collaborative court? So, but if it's with us, we do try to keep. If it's a light touch, we need our very light touch. Like here, let's connect you to our community. And, because you're low risk, connect you to our community, you can certainly come to us for resources, we're here for you. The community, based organizations are here for you, and they can provide those services. It's only those who are the highest risk and highest need that we have to have that involved. I hope that's.
I have a couple of questions and then I'll turn it over to you, Mr. Mendelson. Thank you for providing information about the training that the, I guess mostly detention services officers, have related to autism or neurodivergent youth that has come up quite a bit in our communications and during our meetings. I guess my question is, I appreciate that they have the training, but are you allowed to tell them if a youth has been diagnosed with ADHD or autism disorder? And I'm asking because it seems to me, and particularly in some of the cases that was reviewed, that I know that especially when they reach an adolescent age, young people with autism don't always understand a command. Like if a probation officer is asking them to do something, they might not hear it the same way other youth do, and it could lead to an escalation. Are you allowed to say who has been given a diagnosis or not? Is that considered private information?
So, there's a fine line between, sharing medical information and what's private information, and then having a discussion and a briefing about information that might be pertinent to interacting with individuals that you're working with. And so through our briefings and our multidisciplinary teaming through our daily huddles with behavioral health and education and medical, and we talk about particular cases and individuals who might be different handling emerging issues within the facility. Through that process, that kind of information can be shared, and often I would say is shared in the sense that the vital information that the officers need in order to interact with individuals is shared with the supervisor through that process, and then the supervisor has a briefing process for the staff, and the staff have a pass-down process for one another. That kind of information, most frequently, if we're interacting with a person for the first time, we might learn that information through the intake process. We might also learn that information, a little bit down the road when they get to education. But there are a couple of different channels through which that information can go back to us, but it's not as simple as like the officers cannot look at the medical record, for example. But there are ways that the pertinent information about how to interact with the individual.
I appreciate that. I have one more question and then I'll turn it over to Jim. But as you know, effective October 1, CLERB's jurisdiction has been expanded to include oversight over county staff and contractors that provide health and medical care to both our adult detention facilities and our juvenile detention facilities. And I think we can agree that we have the same shared goal to provide the best possible care to the young people at San Diego County detention facilities. So really my question to you is, will you commit to us tonight that you and the providers you contract with to provide health and medical care at these facilities will cooperate fully and provide us with the information we need to perform our new oversight function? It is our intent to help you to improve the care that you provide when you can. Can I get your commitment tonight to that?
Our department will continue to cooperate with CLERB and all the other bodies that we are authorized and are legally required to cooperate with under the law, and we're authorized to by the courts.
Okay. I just want a commitment that we can work together on this because I think our intent is the same as yours, and that is to provide the best possible care.
I'll continue, and the department will continue, and my staff will continue to cooperate as authorized to under the law by the courts, and we'll continue to do that collaboration and cooperation.
Thank you. Jim?
First of all, thank you for fielding the questions from the board members. I think what I heard the doctor's question was, taking that 20% recidivism rate from youth, are you able to compare that to other counties, and specifically just kind of simple answer, let's take neighboring counties, Orange, Los Angeles, and Riverside, can you kind of tell us how you stack up compared to that?
I don't have that information tonight. I'm very competitive with our neighboring counties, but we can do better. So I don't have that information tonight, but if that information was public or if they talking to peers, if they were willing to share that information with me, we would certainly like to do that. So I can't tell you tonight where we compare to those other counties.
That conclude board questions? Okay, then we will move to public comment. Thank you, Sarah, so very much. I didn't ask in advance to have people turn in their speaker slip for public comment for this item. Do you have speakers for this item?
Yes. First, I will call Lisa.
Well, Yusef Miller, Saving Lives Across California, and was hoping that they would have stayed because this is something probably you could relate to them. I've been at the transitional campus and I've welcomed 3 individual youth out of that detention center once they were released. And I'm very disturbed by what I've heard about what goes on in there. And it's been run basically like the way they explained it to me, as if they're in prison. What I mean by this, they have youth that are in charge of phones, phone access, or how people call home and things like in this nature. They're youth that have been beaten by other youth, but why were they beaten by other youth? That the probation officers were telling them that they're part of this gang or that gang or this gang, putting their lives in danger, putting their safety in danger. There are things like this that they shouldn't have to go through because this is a grooming and a hardening technique that harms our youth as they're growing up, and it prepares them for that type of lifestyle in prisons and in jails, which that absolutely happens and goes on. So what I'm getting from the internal workings of the probation is that this is going on. A solution that I wanted to offer is that if youth could have a way to complain, which didn't go through the other officers, maybe directly to the chief or the assistant chief, or by electronically, or when they're released from probation, a letter goes out to their home that they can fill out and mail back now that they're out of a perceived danger. There are a lot of things we couldn't say here at CLERB talking about a particular family because they were still in probation. And if they said that, it would get back to the probation officers who listen to this and who are a part of monitoring what's going on. And then that person is abused. And one child, the friend of the child said that was happening to him. Thank you.
Next, I will call Paloma.
My name is Paloma Serna, the mother of Lisa Serna, who died November 11, 2019 by medical neglect at the hands of the Sheriff Department. I am with Saving Lives in Custody California and Saving Lives in Custody Campaign and North County Equity and Justice Coalition. Children have been seriously hurt in juvenile detentions, and for years, CLERB couldn't see the records. I'm sorry. I lost my page, sorry. So,
10 seconds back.
yeah, that's fine. I don't even know where I was at. Sorry. So I'm just gonna kind of start off on some other paragraph since our statement, whatever. Since 2021, dozens of kids have been seriously injured while locked up in San Diego County juvenile facility. These injuries weren't small. They include injuries that could cause death, unconsciousness, and long-term harm. There's about 16 to 17 active cases CLERBs are investigating. I would like to know if CLERB is receiving all documents requested so you are able to investigate these 16 to 17 juvenile complaints. A training presentation doesn't fix this. A beautifying facility does not stop the abuse that probation officers inflict on children who are being housed there. Children should not have to be seriously injured for the system decides to look closely at what is taking place there. We need transparency and accountability. Thank you.
Next, I will call Leslie. She's joining online. Leslie, can you hear me?
I can hear you now. I'd like to give my time to Yusuf Miller, please.
Yusuf Miller, Saving Lives in Custody, California. And I'd like to continue on the same track that I was on before about the departing of our youth into a prison pipeline from the youth detention center. And it is not a odd story here or there that we're hearing. Before we actually took a action on this, we've also heard it, in the community. But now we see where the Attorney General is coming into town, that they're not already here, and doing civil rights violations, investigating civil rights violations. And I'm here to offer solutions to go along with that. That once they're in there, which all alternatives should be exhausted before they actually get in there. But once they're in there, they should be treated as human beings and as you and a person who needs to be guided to the right path, not hardened and practiced for the hard path of the rough road. And that's what we're seeing. When we get these youth back, they're exhausted. They are malnutrition. They are a lot of different issues that are going on with them. And this is not fair. This is something that we're setting ourselves up for failure. Maybe that 20% recidivism is due to those children or youth, I should say, those youth not being treated fairly, being harmed, and all actually come back. They have their stripes, not their stripes from prison, but their stripes from youth detention center. And as I'm saying, the only detention center that I can speak from experience or intelligently about is the youth transition campus. That's the only one I'm referencing here. And I'm sure the others have their same issues, but I don't have any anecdote for that. So please look into that or pass this type of information on to the chief and assistant chief, and I'll reach out myself as well.
Thank you.
Chairman Targa concludes request to speak for item number 5.
Thank you. We move on to it's time for item number 6, the executive officer's report.
Good evening, everybody. Brett Klein, Executive Officer, he and his. Tonight, I would like to introduce a couple of brand new members to CLERB staff. I'm going to start off with our new outreach specialist, Leslie Garcia, who's sitting right there. Leslie was born and raised here in San Diego. She received a bachelor's degree in psychology and Latin American studies with a minor in global development from Cal State University. She spent the last couple of years working with the USDA Forest Service under the Office of Communications and Community Engagement as an outreach and community engagement specialist, and the last 4 years as the public affairs specialist for the Willamette National Forest in Oregon. We're very happy, very happy to have an individual that's going to really hopefully advance us and get out into the community and get out into the public and into the media in a much more efficient way. And secondly, Kelsey Gantz right there. She's our new data and research analyst. Kelsey is also a native of San Diego. She recently completed a Master of Public Policy at UC San Diego School of Global Policy and Strategy, where studies focused on inequality, social policy, peace, and security. She holds a Bachelor of Science in Human Development and Family Studies from the University of Hawaii at Manoa. Her academic and professional interests center on data-informed policy, transparent reporting, and improving public systems to better serve diverse communities. Kelsey previously worked at the City of San Diego's Commission on Police Practices as a community engagement and policy intern, where she supported commissioners and staff through the policy analysis, research, and outreach efforts. We are excited for her to bring her oversight experience over to the county.
Welcome, both of you. Are really pleased to have you.
So next, the remodel
of our office space is on track. For those of you that saw our office tonight, we are in dire need of some additional space with the addition of people, and so far we are on track. The recent rains have not flooded our office, so we're super excited about the chance. Our request for quotation for experts in the medical subject matter areas is out. We expect to start in the next week to 2 weeks of start receiving responses that we can start reviewing, pouring through, taking a look at experts in different areas. This does go to a question that was brought up earlier. We have the authority over both medical and mental and dental and clinical, anything to do with any medical services provided in the detention centers in an in-custody situation. And so we will be working very hard over the next month or two to get these people on board, get them on contract, because we do have a couple of cases on the docket now that will be our first cases that we have that jurisdiction on. We expect them to come to this board late summer, sometime in the fall, once we get the experts on board. As a reminder, the QR code for attachments is on. I just want to remind everybody we're really trying to focus on matching county goals of sustainability and environmentally friendly meetings. And so we're making an effort to try to get everything on there so that you have access to it. And we'll be able to provide that right up there. It's right here. You got it right up here. All right. We were able to get to introduce ourselves to Mr. Dumas, welcome him aboard, get him his board handbook, get him access, get him all those forms that you all have to fill out to get started. And so we had a great opportunity to sit down and just talk. And so we're really thankful again to have a full board. It's nice to have to worry about seating up here. That's a good thing, and we're really happy for it. I want to take this opportunity to thank the DIS, that's the Sheriff's DIS liaisons, for scheduling our annual training, which occurred a couple weeks ago. It was held at the Las Colinas Detention Facility I want to thank the board members that were able to attend. The entire staff of investigators and staff were there as well. And we received some training regarding three main areas. One was we were given a presentation about medical health and the services that medical services provide in there. And that was brought by the chief nurse for the sheriff's department, working through all the detention facilities. And then we also got a separate presentation by the mental health, the chief nurse for the mental health. And so we were able to get wide focus on both areas, get some one-on-one training. The board will be able to see some of those documents. We'll get those to you in a confidential manner as well. We're really thankful for that. Lieutenant Jarjura, Sergeant Curdy, Sergeant Murillo really put that together for us, and we are really appreciative. We really hope that we can continue this annual training because I think it's really beneficial for all of us to get together. We also got some training on some use of force that is slightly different than what we're used to seeing. There are some videos in there, again, some confidential videos. I welcome you all to go in there, review those videos, take a look at some of the alternative issues that deputies are seeing in some of these instances. They were put into the box account, yes. So again, a big thank to Chief Nurse Quiroz and Chief Nurse Serena Rottlian Hood. I hope I pronounced that correctly. So we're very thankful for that time. We have come to an agreement. Thank you to DIS again for agreeing to help us with our adverse action notice service. What that means is that once this board has a sustained finding We have an administrative job, which is to make sure that those deputies that are sustained for misconduct are served proper notice that allows them the opportunity to appeal that to civil service. And so we've come up with a way for them to help us in that process. It happens so much faster, noticed that already, and at a considerably less cost typically than what we were doing before. So we're very thankful to them for that. I know some of you received updated board member handbooks. For those that still want to get an update on that, we will gladly provide those for you. And lastly, I just want to talk about 2026 projects and goals. As we start this new year, we are looking forward to some really big projects and goals that CLERB has really never had the opportunity to obtain before. So I'm just going to talk about a few of them. We're nearing the completion of the final draft of the in-custody death study. We expect them to be here in the next 3 months timeframe to give their presentation and be here in person to present that presentation to the board and the public. So that has been a long time coming for those of you that have been on the board a while and to know that that has been in the works for a long time, and we're excited to see this through. We are also very close to finalizing our case management system and actually being able to use it. Again, for those of you that have been here a long time, I think that's been a 4-year process. And so we are getting close on that. That is going to give us the ability to be way more transparent in where CLERB sits. We are going to have real-time numbers on a dashboard on our website, so we don't have to come and present monthly and tell you what's going on, because it's all going to be right there with additional statistics. So we're pretty excited about that. Our annual report for 2025 will be done sooner this year. We fully expected to get it to the board for review by the end of the month, so that you can discuss it and we can have it on our March meeting as approval, and we can get it to the board of supervisors as soon as possible. We'll also have some projects, which again, project goals about updating our website, including again, the public facing dashboard, the frequently asked question documents that have been provided to the board members. Those are going to get to be on our website, public. We want to use our new outreach specialists to really engage with the community more events, not just presented by us, but that we can attend and really focus on. And then we are also going to focus on this year a comprehensive study and documentation of policy recommendations. I know that policy recommendations are very important to this board, and we know we put them out and we get responses and we're transparent with that. But what does that look like from the last 5 years, from the last 10 years, from the last 20 years of policy recommendations that have gone out? And so we fully expect to get a good policy recommendation presentation to you all, so you know where we sit and where we've been. Those are some big goals for 2026.
Good timing on the policy recommendation report, given the number of new members. And I think that I know the members of the public come all the time who are interested in it as well, but I think it'd be a good way to get everybody on the same page with what we've recommended in the past, what we've received responses to, and how those changes have been made.
And we have 16 cases on our busy closed session for tonight. After tonight, we will be just over 100 cases, which will be the lowest in a very, very long time of open cases. So we're getting ahead, and we hope to really, by midsummer, to be 3 to 6 months in advance of Hobart dates that give you guys more time to digest, more time to send us back if you have additional requests, so that we can make sure that you have that time, instead of what has happened over the last few years with a lack of staff which is getting up to the pull bar date on most of the cases.
And no ability to send them back when we have additional information. So that's really, that timing is really important to us when we get into deliberations in closed session. And we've seen some of you have been here long enough to see that there are nights when we wish we could send it back because the new questions come up and we can't because we're up against that pull bar date. So this will be very useful. And I'm thank you for the work that you've done to get us to that point, Brett. Anything else? That was a pretty fulsome report, but.
That's it.
Thank you. As you can tell, Brett and team have been very busy, and I think you're just about fully staffed now as well.
And we get one more.
One more, okay.
Starting the next fiscal year. So we're super excited about continuing to expand and get more out of it.
Yes, and we're gonna need it because as we talked about, our jurisdiction has expanded and we're gonna need the additional help. So thank you. Thank you, Brett, and thank you, team, for all of your good work, all of you. Moving to the board chair's report, I want to thank the members of the board who were able to get to the training at Las Colinas and also to thank our the members of the sheriff's office who led the training sessions. Appreciate your time. What I really wanted to focus on tonight is something that has come up in several of our cases. Well, as long as I've been on here, on CLERB, we have had many cases that have had issues regarding the intercom system in the detention facilities. And members of CLERB have asked questions. We've received, during our trainings at the detention facilities, we've received tours and information and about the monitors or the intercom system, but it still has left a lot of us with a lot of questions. Sorry. Ms. Fasano in particular has asked that we have a discussion about the intercom operations at a board meeting. And so to facilitate that, I'd like to ask that our CLERB investigative staff please prepare for an upcoming meeting. And Brett, I'll leave the timing of that to you, given the workload. A report on our county detentions, the intercom policy at our county detention facilities and how that policy compares to similar sized counties and detention facilities with a similar population as to what we have here in San Diego. I'd like to know, is there something that we can learn from other counties? Are other counties doing it differently or better? Or even are there best practices from other regions or other states that we should be learning from? I think if we can start there with that information and a presentation about those policies, both here at San Diego, what we're seeing in other places, then that will allow the board to have a conversation about what we've seen in our cases without getting into any private confidential information. And then we can make recommendations for policy changes if we think that that's something that we need to do based on the information we have here. So that's really all I had for my report tonight, but I want to thank Ms. Fasano for really being insistent that we take this up. And I had to look for a way to do it in a way that we could direct staff to provide a report back to us so we can have a discussion in open session, because that's the only way that we can do that all together. And I think that will hopefully satisfy the request that I've received from you, Adele, and from others. Any questions about that? Comments? Okay. Thank you. We will move to new business, item number 9. Oh, sorry. Am I moving it wrong? I see. Okay. We moved up the liaisons. I'm sorry, I'm not used to that. We will move to the liaison board member queries for the sheriff and probation office liaisons. Sorry about that. Out of order. Mr. Dordura, are you here? There you are. Hi. Good evening. Do you have a report for us, or do you want us to jump into questions?
We can go right to questions.
Okay. Any questions for Mr. Dordura tonight?
I wanted to remind the board that one of the requests had come at a prior meeting, and the sheriff's department did provide an answer to those questions with some of that information being confidential, and so that was placed in the box. So any questions regarding the disciplinary process and the numbers that were involved in that, I just wanted to let everyone know that they didn't respond to that request.
Okay, go ahead.
I just want to thank you for an excellent piece of presentation at last time's training.
Thank you, I appreciate that came up.
Thank you for your time tonight. Any other questions for our sheriff's liaison tonight? Yes. Ellen.
How's your new addition?
Very, very cute.
Good.
Thank you.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you for your time.
Have a great night.
Ms. Diaz-Pena? Hi, yeah, I think you have a report for us first? No?
Yeah, no report.
Okay. Were there any outstanding questions that we had from last month?
We actually remember the presentation.
I thought so. I thought that was, that we probably wouldn't have much for us tonight, or many questions from us tonight, since the chief was just here. Unless there's any questions for our probation liaison from the board?
I would just remind you all that I know that there's been that request that has been out for multiple months requesting the medical policies and procedures and contracts and the organizational structure of those providers. We have been working with them. I was notified today that they believe that the one little holdout was probably going to be able to provide that information to us now. So I hope we should be able to get that very shortly.
Yes.
Okay, I would just reiterate what I already said to the chief, and that is, our intent is to help provide good care to these that are in the detention facility. So we are counting on chief and you as our liaison to help us get the information that we need so we can do that. Thank you. Now we can move to item number 9, new business, and that is an update from our Assembly Bill 847 ad hoc committee, which is Mr. Mendelson and Mr. Moody, and our council. Ellen, you're listening.
Yes, the AB 847 is Mr. Member Wood.
Mr. Woods, I'm sorry. Sorry,
Mr. Moody.
It's Mr. Woods. I apologize.
And yes, and Executive Officer Klein and myself.
And I'm going to turn it over to Mr. Mendelson.
All right, I think you just got introduced to the Assembly Bill 847 Ad Hoc Committee. Chair Pintar formed that in late December of 2025. You heard the membership, Mr. Woods, our counsel, the executive officer, and myself. And additionally, Chair Pintar is an ex officio member of it. This committee was formed because the executive officer, Kalina, became aware that there are going to be labor negotiations between the county and the 2 employee associations. That's the Deputy Sheriff's Association and also the San Diego County Probation Officers Association. And those negotiations are going to those are the unions. It's going to regard impacts on the new law, the Assembly Bill 847, on the members' terms of employment and working conditions. So the ad hoc committee, when we talked about who's on it over the holidays, and basically I'm talking about January, we met several times to create a framework, an Assembly Bill 847 framework for Executive Officer Kalina to use in discussion with counsel for those 2 associations, Deputy Sheriff's Association and the Probation Officers Association. And that's in preparation for them meeting with the county. We expect that meeting will, with the Executive Officer Kalina and those council or those unions, will take place later on this month. The framework that we came up with is based on the existing law, and that includes provision in the Penal Code section, California Penal Code sections 832.7, 832.8, as well as the Commission on Peace Officer Standards and Training post regulation 1205. This time, we're not going to share the framework with the board or the public. And the reason is it then becomes a public record. It's subject to disclosure under the Brown Act as well as the Public Records Act. And since our executive officer, Kalina, is going to be meeting with the associations and all their counsel, it's not really a good strategy to have that out yet. So at this time, we're not going to discuss the framework. But what I do want to share with you is the fact that CLERB's approach to this law is going to be to request and utilize relevant personnel records of sheriff's deputies and probation officers to assist our special investigators and the board in investigating. And then the important part is, while ensuring confidentiality, that such personnel records are afforded under current law, county and CLERB codes, and regulations. It would have been great if this happened a long time ago, but one of the big concerns that we had was the confidentiality, because there's so many laws that affect confidentiality of police records. And I want to make sure that everybody understands, specifically the public, there may be a perception that, hey, once we get this, we're going to start learning about what the disciplinary records are, training records, etc., of these law enforcement personnel. Unfortunately, we are not going to be able to share that. And I'm going to ask our counsel, legal counsel, if she could kind of elaborate on that.
Thank you, Vice Chair Mendelson. Good afternoon or good evening, everyone, and all the board members. So AB 847 added basically one sentence onto the current existing Penal Code Section 832.7. That is the general provision that says that police personnel records as defined are confidential and cannot be disclosed normally without court proceedings in what is known as a pitches motion. And that is where a criminal defendant or a plaintiff in a civil matter can go to court and ask for personnel records of police officers and or probation officers regarding past complaints of incidents that they were involved in or were witnesses to, other things like training records and performance evaluations. Those are all make up employee files. So what 832.7A now says is that CLERB, like other employee and oversight bodies, can get those records without going to court and without having to do the pitches motion. However, the provision of these records to CLERB for the special investigators and the board to use in their deliberations and their evaluations of the investigations is not going to be made public. So they are still confidential records. And that confidentiality has to be respected like all of the other confidential information that CLERB gets. And of course, to the extent that there can be public summaries made of findings that may be impacted by the confidential information contained in police personnel records, those will be done appropriately and in accordance with the confidentiality provisions that we have to respect and follow. So the only records that are still available under the California Public Records Act and the Sheriff's Department currently posts are those records under Penal Code Section 832.7B, which came to public knowledge because of SB 1421, which makes certain incidents of police misconduct such as shooting, firearm, excessive force causing great bodily injury, sexual assault on a member of the public, those types of incidents discoverable under the Public Records Act. So those are still remain the same. The law at AB 847 did not impact that, but of course, as Vice Chair Mendelson said, the CLERB investigators and CLERB board members will be apprised of the personnel records relevant to our investigations and expect to employ the law with all the effort and as much as we can complying with existing law.
Thank you. Thank you both for that summary, and thank you to the ad hoc members that spent some quite a bit of time, I know, this month preparing the framework so Brett can enter those, participate in those negotiations which are happening soon. Okay. We will move on to public comment regarding the ad hoc committee and framework. I know it is, Mr. Mendelson said that it is private, but we're confidential, but we're still happy to hear from you about this if you would like to comment.
First, I have Yusuf Miller.
Thank you. Yusuf Miller, North County Equity and Justice Coalition to Save Lives in Southern California. We've been paying attention to 847 as it's in many other counties and being discussed by boards like yours. And one of the things we've been seeing is as they come up to meet prefer to drag out the actual implementation of 847, and for us to be aware of the misuse and abuse of meet and confer to just drag out the process so it doesn't even happen. So, but with that being said, we understand the confidentiality piece of it, that is supposed to give transparency to you guys, which you guys were expecting, and we're, we'll say, trust to use those to make the best and strongest decision on each individual officer in that case. But with that, since we don't get to actually see it, summaries are important. We need to know somebody saw something, you know what I mean? It's private and you can't tell us what happened, but we need to know something is happening. And we can't just sit back and say we have 847, but you can't see anything. Therefore, it appears to us that nothing is happening. So the summary is going to be really important to the community. But the trust is in you now in all these other counties to take that information that you get from these files and implement it and hold accountable people who have crossed the boundaries of people's civil rights and so on. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Paloma.
My name is Paloma Serna, the mother of Lisa Serna, who died November 11, 2019 by medical neglect at the hands of the Sheriff Department. I'm with Saving Lives in Custody, California, and Saving Lives in Custody campaign and North County Equity and Justice Coalition. AB 847 was passed because families like mine were promised transparency, accountability, and change after deaths in custody. I'm glad that this board is taking this bill seriously because we continue to see instead are delays to incomplete investigation and recommendation that do not prevent the next death. If AB 847 is working, this board should be able to show faster and complete investigation, full cooperation from agency, and concrete changes that save lives. If it is not working, this board has the responsibility to say that publicly and demand fixes. You would think that the death of Elisa Surinam, Matthew Settle, Saxon Rodriguez, Kevin Mills, Linda Bagby, Viviana Granero, and others would have changed this system. Yet years later, families are still standing here saying the same things. Transparency without enforcement is meaningless. Oversight without consequences is performative. Families deserve more than progress reports. We deserve proof that the law is preventing medical neglect from killing another loved one and holding deputies accountable when they are at fault. I don't know if you're aware, but Kelly Martinez is trying to destroy the CLERB report documents in Elisa's case, in which my attorneys had notified me. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. I will call Darwin Krishna.
Thank you. I was just gonna add, that having experience on the old CRB, Community Review Board of Police Practices for the city of San Diego. When we were reviewing cases, because it's the same for you guys, there's a difference in when you're reviewing these cases in terms of the information that's provided to you. And I understand the POBR, the protection for police, but the issue that came up, I know you guys encountered this too, is it's much easier to have information available for the person that files the complaint, and that's open and easy access. The basic stuff with police officers, law enforcement is not available. So for example, it's as simple as things like with patterns, and also disciplinary actions can be very difficult to have. And it can have, of course, a real impact in terms of how you investigate and then what you ultimately vote on for when you get the complaints. This work that was being done was initiated in LA 5 members of this facility oversight community. And I understand the discussion tonight. On one level, it's not going to be public, but on another level, it will be in the sense that we'll see the final results of your work, and it should make a difference of that. And as just suggested by the comments, there are ways that you can communicate that to the community. And at the end of the day, the point is that you're doing an independent investigation, and that will show in how this is utilized. And it's a difference in essence in a criminal case where both sides are equally represented. And in essence, it's not stacked against one. We only have access to records for one side. So I hope that that message is clear in terms of what the community expects and what people have been saying about this legislation and what they expect from the clerk.
Thank you.
Gentlemen, I have 2 requests to speak online, if you allow me to do this. First, I will call the leader of
Yes, can I give my time to Yusuf Miller, please?
Yes.
Yusuf Miller, Sandy Line, Custody, California. And back to the transparency for the community on 847. And actually, I want to back up to the challenges that we've been seeing in LA and other places that do have CLERBs. Not everyone has a CLERB. People are working on CLERBs, but the actual relationship between the sheriff's department and the oversight has gotten tense as the oversight boards are asking for what this law already recommends and demands. And yes, it's a sentence. It's a very powerful sentence, one that changes the whole structure of what we're doing in one sentence. And that sentence should be taken very seriously. It's very weighty. So when it comes to that summary, I think what needs to go along with the summary is a data analysis on the products of the outcomes of the CLERB versus before 847. So we could put together some type of nexus to show how this transparency is actually effective on accountability and transparency in the intersection and effective on accountability. So we want this process to be as transparent as legally possible. And that means to be innovative as well. That means to go in and not say, okay, just the letter of the law, okay, you can only say this summary, but what in the summary can they have without jeopardizing the poll bar for posting and all that? Thank you.
Thank you. Next, I will call Beverly.
Oh, yes, I'd like to give my minutes to Yusuf Miller. Thank you.
Thank you.
Yusuf Miller, State Line, Custody, California. I want to thank Dr. Sharp Collins for bringing this legislation forward. It's something really needed. And I want to thank the CLERB for supporting AB 847. Not all the time when you have that in a lot of CLERBs, and the community feels it, community knows it, and they appreciate these families that are online, the families that we meet with that can't be here. They were all excited about 847 and concerned about whether the board would actually stand on their side, which you did. So I want to thank you for standing with us on 847. And like I said, this innovation that we need, we're going to be looking for that on top of 847. 847 is a basic law, and it says these things, but we need more information as possible. And that data piece of it, I think, is going to really open some people's eyes. It'll probably open eyes in other counties, especially if we're the first ones doing it. Like in a lot of cases, we here in San Diego, due to people, what we're doing on the streets and in the community, what we're doing could mold the rest of the state. So please take that approach of innovation, open transparency. As it was said, transparency has been fought on every level after the agreement has been made by the sheriff's department when it comes to our legal, the courts, and sometimes backed up by the county. So we can't be faulted for that as a county. We can't fall for it. The CLERB reports that are supposed to be transparent, according to SB 519, are trying to be destroyed. And lawyers have to stop it. 519 is law on that, and they're still trying to circumvent it. So be wary of that, be ready for it, because those circumventations are coming, and you will have to navigate those in the interest of the community and in the interest of just justice. Thank you.
Thank you.
Chairman Sartako, please request to speak for item number 9.
Thank you very much. We don't have any items for number 10. And so I would move to item number 11, board member comments. Are there any members of the board tonight who have any comments that they'd like to raise? Part of our open session. Nope. Okay. With that, I will ask our council to please read us into closed session. We have 16 cases tonight. So
Yes, thank you, Chair Pindar, for our closed session agenda tonight as set forth in item 12A of the agenda. We have 16 cases for summary hearing, all as described in the agenda, and all are pursuant to public employee discipline, dismissal, and release, pursuant to Government Code Section 54957, and that concludes my read in closed session.
Thank you. Thank you for everybody who showed up in person and online tonight. We'll see you next month.